Hey there, guys. Fellas, I gotta let you in on something. I've fallen into addiction to the sweet taste of the potato. I don't know why I crave the fruit of the earth so much. Maybe
My
my
life with
humors
potato.
have become imbalanced. Maybe I am colluding with the devil, exploiting the glitches of the world through witchcraft. But what I do know for sure is that I can't resist to bake a batch of goodness every single day. Like the warm embrace of a woman, I can't resist them even though I know they make me weak and debuff my health permanently. Anyways, this has nothing to do with the game that I am about to present to you. Sonny, and by extension its sequel, Sonny 2, were games before their time, and like me, during my childhood, they were probably misunderstood by people that were too low on the mental ladder to get them. I am of course referring to the middle schoolers. Those were simpler times, when writing was hard and addition was damn near impossible.
なんで
What did I do during that time? Sonny was a turn-based RPG made mostly by a single man in Adobe Flash, so you need to get an emulator if you're willing to play the games. We have to salute the dedicated people that made possible the preservation of Flash games. Here's the story. You are playing the game as a guy called Sonny. Go figure. He's got amnesia from dying. You wake up on a burning ship in the middle of the ocean. The ship is going to go down. Your only apparent friend is a guy named Lewis, who explains to you how to play the game. And he tells you to kill those two guys in front of him, in spite of the fact that he's canonically blind.
You're outnumbered. Don't worry, though. You have the strongest weapon.
This pipe?
No, I'm talking about your brain. Think. That green one in front of us is toxic. Watch out for its poison.
But you're blind. How do you even know?
Don't get all technical on me, Sonny. Just be glad I told you.
You can't deny the creativity beyond the plotline. It was definitely the ridiculous fights that carried the game. Lewis gets in fact killed at the end of the tutorial by the people that were coming to save you because he was protecting you and you were actually a zombie.
Huh?
I'm not expecting you to take this seriously because I don't have time. I need to get back on my mewing routine, enhancing my job. Looks maxing is now a lifestyle that I cannot give up on. Are you with me still? Once you clobber them and retreat on a lifeboat, you have to fight your way on the beach. A few frozen zombies to go, and you're to face samurai ghosts and ninjas. Just like in your favorite shonen anime, this game coined cyborg zombies fighting ghost ninjas, aliens, and worse than that, drug addicts.
I'm freaking out, man.
More about those later. The story is very creative, I'll give it that. There is no proper reason for the things the main character is going through. We didn't need to justify things bad at them. We just did them. Which is why they made a reboot on Steam to try and actually iron out a better story. And how did that game turn out? I don't like it as much as the other two. The consensus between us, the people that have played them, is that the last one is inferior.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Sure, a lot of fluff is removed and the story is sort of given an ending, but we didn't really care about that. Sonny was basically a game about a guy going on a journey of survival to try and recover his memories in this sort of an apocalyptic dying world. It was never about the plot, you were here to kill monsters. It was about this mild, dreamlike vibe that it gave to you, sort of how Risk of Rain functions. Somewhere in the haze of fighting impossible beings in an impossible scenario, you were there wondering if most of this adventure is just the hallucinations of one dying man trying his best to survive his abnormal condition. And the music was great. I mean, truly, you go from playing something like Learn to Fly or Castle Crusher or whatever else, and you're here. So what changed? Well, the art is better, for one, but it's different. It lost something along the way to becoming a shiny new Steam game. Much like switching away from a CRT monitor that covered half your desk to a wide, flat screen. Much like playing a sequel of an RTS game that doesn't have the UI covering the right side of the screen with a pixelated map. The story is more streamlined, understandable, grounded in some ways, but we've lost a few things along the way as well. The characters don't have attack animations anymore. They weren't that great, but they're not even here. The voice lines are not all acted out. That's right, a pre-2010 era Flash game had fully acted voice lines for all the characters that had dialogue. A lot of the unique fights and mechanics have been removed, and all of the wacky references and jokes that gave it some character are gone. Where are my ghost ninjas?
They were removed. Where have they gone?
If you played the first two, there's no misty-eyed childhood nostalgia blocking your judgment. The game is serviceable. But we all know why we're here. We're here for the... It's a turn-based RPG, so we know that we're going to be dealing with lots of numbers and stats, some of which might even be relevant. The thing with these two specific games is that they rely heavily on buffs and debuffs. There's so many of them with so many effects that it's hard to keep track, but most of them do similar things. For the sake of simplicity, I won't bother to explain them, as it's quite easy to understand. What are the similarities between a mild cold and inhaling mustard gas? They both do damage over time to you and will eventually kill you. One may be more effective than the other, but in the programming world, they might as well be one and the same thing. What these games did not shy away from, however, is their build diversity. With the option to choose in between a couple of classes at the beginning of your playthrough, the second game even offers you unique skill trees to boot. You can tell why I'm enamored with Path of Exile. This problem was here from when I was young. Win a couple of fights, get your skill points and level up. From these skill trees you can pick your poison and then mold your perfect build. They are not all made equal. Some of them are incredibly powerful while others barely scrape by, but it's the diversity that makes it feel great. Of course, making the best build that you can is important to clear the game smoothly, reducing the campaign to something manageable that will last you one afternoon. If you find the game too hard at times, the game gives you the option to go through training fights, allowing you to essentially grind levels and money infinitely. Where it gets tricky is doing all with little respects and no training fights. One development issue in your build will cost you dearly, but the satisfaction of beating the game is worth it. This is why back in the day you had to play it on the Armor Games website while logged in to your account, to unlock the difficulty setting and extra levels in the second game, and to get access to the multiple save files in case you blew up your run in the process. Little did I know that getting my email hacked in a database leak would be on the up and coming years later. I can't deny though, those packages from China get here before I even think about ordering them. Anyways, we don't have time for every trash fight in the game. It does follow the logic of JRPGs where you have to grind a bit to get stronger, so I'll talk about the fights that stood out to me. Please be warned that the following information may appear disjointed and demented. The first noteworthy find was supposed to be the boss of the second chapter in the first game, but unfortunately he was much easier than I remembered, mainly because I came prepared to dispel the 4 times extra damage buff from his one-shot combo. It is in between him and escaping the ship that you meet your new friend called Verdox. He's a combat healer, and you're dependent on him for your healing.
Hey, thanks for helping me back there, bud. I'm Veridux.
They call me Sonny. I can't remember my real name.
Hey, I got your back, Sonny. Rip them open.
There is nothing greater than having to rely on your AI companion that might choose to focus the wrong target, overheal you when they don't have to, and not supply you with support when they have to. Funnily enough, The next area's trash fights are in a league of their own. Like this one, where you have to face a shaman and a rock golem. I wonder, why do they even sell rock golem armor in the shop? Okay, I'm sure I'll be able to take one hit if I bought all of this. Oh, for God's sake. Some fights later, you're against a rock star. I have no idea what a rock idol must be doing in a village of religious fanatics, but knowing some music fans nowadays, I'd say he must be right at home with his worshippers. You'd expect him to be hard since he's a single enemy, but no, he's not really that hard to beat. Doing the same rock golem shaman combo and then adding a totem, however, is a much harder fight by comparison. You're essentially playing a game of chicken, trying to kill them before they kill you, and hoping that you can keep the golem from clobbering your ally in the meantime. This fight is so much harder that it took me more time to beat it than beating the Shaman Council, which were supposed to be the bosses of the area. The last two fights of the first game include this paladin guy. He's here to take this baron guy down, whose HP is many times our damage output. Luckily, before we met the paladin, we killed his backup team, so now we're able to replace them because he can't count very well.
Wait, isn't there supposed to be 3 of you?
As luck would have it, keeping him alive is enough to kill the baron. And I'm sure that this friendship will last us a long time. So anyways, to kill him, the best thing you can do is get his focus down. He will disintegrate himself in the process. Just watch out for the one-shots. And now we're up for the second game. If you notice the aspect ratio changing, it's because this game was supposed to be played on a 4x3 monitor in a browser window, meaning that the characters are going to be as wide as I'm willing to make them. That, and I had to hope I sized it accordingly every time I opened the game. Before we start, we are given the choice between 3 classes, that this time actually have different skill trees, not just different stats. You can be fast and ferocious, inflict lots of physical damage or poison your enemy, or you could even freeze them in place, or drain their moisture from their bodies. But I have a different approach. I chose to defeat my enemies using psychological damage. In psychological warfare, the one who wins is the one who terrifies his enemies the most. Given that our first level is a prison level, and that the warden's main ability is to inflict us with a 9-turn debuff that makes us pick up the soap, I think psychological warfare is par for the course. It's exactly this mindset that makes the first boss tick, as the boss decides it would be a good idea to receive 50% less damage for half the fight, getting us to canonically accept a standstill.
See you later, handsome.
Following the pattern of the first game, the second zone in the second game has harder trash fights than the boss fights themselves.
The master will be pleased. Die for us now.
You first, I insist.
As a result, the Baron's return quickly crumbles after I terrify him repeatedly, causing him to kill himself in order to recover his focus. It didn't even matter that we had a third teammate to back us up.
Rolled.
Roland is an insurgent dedicated to helping us find a cure for the zombie apocalypse. The biggest standout fight in this piece of crap area is against the ZPCI. Zombie Pest Control Incorporated does not approve of me and Verodox existing. They also don't approve of taking damage, nor taking multiple turns at a time. And... wait a second, dude, did you just say multiple turns?
Yes, I did.
Allow me to introduce you to the speed stat. It's a turn-based game, so I take a turn and then the enemy takes a turn, correct? Wrong. You see, we both take turns in the order of our speed. That's why sometimes I am faster than my teammates, because I have more speed than them. Reducing an enemy's speed, however, may cause us to gain a turn if we're fast enough, leading to us having 2 turns in a row. But what happens when that speed debuff goes away? Well, naturally, the enemy team gets 2 turns in a row as well. Confused? Good, me too. We are unironically getting punished for using a speed debuff. When it is crucial for us to take our turns properly one after another, this may be the difference between getting marked for fire or marked for death. And the two debuffs look the same. Good luck out there. And now we're in a trading level. Remember what I said about the drug addicts? The host of a party is here to drug us all, and he's angry that we're not allowing him to roofie us. Following the same logic, a very hardly earned fight is the fight against a hobo, the smell of which cannot be dispelled, lasts 99 turns, and kills us if inhaled for long enough. Truly, this is one of the best fights in the whole game. We kill the hobo with no hesitation, and we take his beard as a reward. And then we get to fight an actual real hobo, whose bottle of Smirnoff did not do well to him health-wise. And always remember, rule number 6, if you're drunk, never fight against someone sober. They penetrate your brilliant drunken defense too easily.
Oh, that hurt.
Wait a sec, that wasn't a zombie.
Well, I couldn't just give him my hard-earned cash, now could I?
So the first fight might have not been a real hobo, but now we definitely clobbered a real diseased hobo, and we also took his boots as a reward, which have better stats than the ZPCI Arctic uniform boots, somehow. Furthermore, the next hardest fight against an enemy is in the Tunnel of Illusions. There, the gas is toxic and hallucinogenic. We are tripping balls, and the enemy that is about to beat us into the ground is a goddamn cockroach. Roach Vitality is a skill that costs barely any focus to use and will without fail stop us from doing any damage to this guy. The worst fight after that is a bunny, and after that it is Sonny.
Hey, that one looks just like Sonny.
Hey, it kinda does. I'm not amused.
Which I beat using dumb luck and many tries because, like the cockroach, he really likes to regenerate all his health once you get him low enough. The next chapter contains a lot of fun stuff in the form of androids with impenetrable force shields, police brutality, as in the police are brutally being beaten by us, secret services police brutality, opportunistic trading, and rioting. It's here that they wrap up the ending of the second game on a cliffhanger whose resolution is never to be seen. It seems that the ZPCI were the ones responsible behind the zombie virus outbreak. They discovered the incredible profitable power of the monopoly that supplies both sides of the conflict. They taxed the people for protection, installed a puppet state, and acted as a shadow government, while they were the main reason the world was ending in the first place. You can imagine that the population of said utopia wasn't so happy, and as a result of the riot, we killed the mayor.
Wait a minute, you're a zombie? Why did you help us? Your kind never helps anyone.
Man, don't discriminate just cause he different. He helped us overthrow the mayor.
Yeah, that's right, he did. Thank you. Thank you, friend.
Don't mention it.
Everyone sang Kumbaya and they were happy as they discovered that we helped them even though we were zombies. And that is the ending of the story as we know it. But I'm running against a wall. Mind you, not an impossible obstacle because we still have the secret bosses to defeat. Some whose mechanics I shall not name because I never wanted to engage with them in the first place. The hardest secret boss in the game, the Corruptor, no idea what it does, absolutely zero clue. You see, the wall I ran into was numerical. My enemies started to one-shot me and my team. They got a 95% damage resistance shield that was not removable and lasted 99 turns. They had the skills to sentence me to death 9 turns in a row. They had an HP bar equal to max long and the ability to heal it to full every turn. So when my damage has reached its peak and there are no multipliers left to hit our enemies, how do we defeat them? Allow me to introduce to you the greatest cheese of this game. It's time to heal our enemies to death. take 2 Electro Bolts, take 2 Shock Coma abilities, add a Retrograde. Shock your enemy of choice so that the heal will deal 60% more. Add the Shock Coma abilities on top of him, making him heal a total of 64% of his health every turn. Multiply 64 by 1.6 and you get 102.2%. Apply Retrograde to inverse healing and damage. Congratulations! You just discovered the ability to one-shot any enemy in a 6-turn sequence by making them damage themselves for 102% of their own health bar. Now, when no amount of strategy may stand in your way, now you have truly won. And even with all of that behind us, I'm informing you that this game had a lot more unique fights left that I omitted. Some are arguably better than others, but I needn't tell you that. This game is a gem of the bygone Flash era, and thankfully it's been preserved for all of us to play. If you want to experience it, I urge you to give it a free try. Just like I urge you to go down in the comments and tell me what you think. Maybe even subscribe. And always remember,
Baba Booey.